Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to math class. And again, this is your teacher Airen, and today we will discuss a new topic. So let's start. Okay, our topic for today's lesson is about visualizing the volume of solid figures using non-standard units. Okay, introduction. The lesson on volume starts with visualizing volume using non-standard units. This developed using objects like marbles, balls, mungo seeds, and cubes. Okay, so before we start our discussion, class, kindly look at the illustration below or kindly look at the picture. Okay, observe carefully. Okay, let's proceed. Okay, let's answer this following question. Question number 1. Do the boxes have the same size? What do you think, class? Okay, the answer would be yes. The boxes have the same size. How about this question? Do the balls, marbles, and beans have the same size? What do you think so, class? What would be the answer? Well, the answer is no. Okay, let's try to proceed number 2. How many balls were there in box A? How many, class? In box A, there are 5 balls. How about the marbles? How many marbles were there in box B? So there are 44 marbles. So how many beans were there in box C? How many beans, class? There are 126 beans. So let's proceed to question number 3. Did they get the same number of units for the volume of the box? What do you think so, class? Yes, of course. The answer would be no, because it is why? Why it is no? Because they have different number of units and each item has different size. So for you to understand the topic, okay, let me try to explain the concept about this lesson. Okay, so try to visualize this picture. Try to think. Okay, from the previous picture. Okay, let me discuss why. Okay, the 3 boxes have the same size. Okay, the box A, B, and C have the same size. So look at carefully, class. Or did they have the same class? Of course, they have the same size. Okay, however, the items used to measure the volume or to measure the volume of the box, namely the balls, marbles, and beans, have different size. Okay, remember, class? The item that being measured, the volume of the box are these are they ball, marbles, and beans, and don't forget that they have different sizes. Of course, they have different sizes. It is because look at the picture. The ball is bigger while the marbles, let's just say a small, right? And the last one is about the boxy. Of course, it is very small size, right, class? Of course, in measuring the volume of these items, it always has a different sizes. Okay, balls, marbles, and beans are used as non-standard units for measuring the volume of the bags. Okay, class? What are these named, class? The balls, marbles, and beans used as a non-standard unit. So always remember that non-standard units for measuring the volume of the box. So these are the balls, marbles, and beans, or the mga items, or the things, or the objects. Okay, non-standard. Okay. Okay, let me back the previous slide. Okay. Non-standard units can be used to measure volume, but they do not give the same measure of volume for the same container. Okay, so when we say non-standard units, so no matter what size of your objects of your items, it always have the different sizes and they do not give the same measure of the same container. Dili na sila magpareha og same measure of volume sa container bisan pareha pa na sila og bisan dili pa na sila pareha og size sa imong item or the object, it will never the same measure of volume of the same container daw class. Okay, let's try to visualize, let's try to understand, let's try to dig deeper about this lesson. Okay, let's try. Okay, direction. Get 3 matchboxes, marbles, pebbles, and mango seeds for the same size. It was fully filled box A with marbles, box B with pebbles, and box C with mango seeds. So let's try to answer these following questions. So look at the picture, carefully observe. Try to visualize this picture. Okay, let's try to answer number 1. Which unit will give the greatest number of volume of the container? So unsa kuno ang mga item or unit na makahatag kuno og daghang number sa container or daghang mga greatest number of volume na makapuno sa container. Okay, so the answer would be C, the mango seeds. Of course, mango good na siya class. It is because the size of mango is very small. When you put the seeds in the container and you want to fulfill or you want to fill the box with mango seeds, of course, the more mudaghan siya. Daghan mabutang nimo kay gagmay siya. Okay, which unit will give the less number of volume of the corner? So the answer would be B, the pebbles kuno class. Why? Of course, let's just try to see this picture. Of course, pebbles is something very big or bigger siya. Of course, so when you put a pebbles inside the box, of course, it is just limited pebbles can put inside the box. It is because the size of pebbles is bigger compared to mango seeds. So unlike with the marbles, so let's just say it could be not just too much, but it can be a medium or average of volume of the container. It is because the size of the marbles is, let's just see, a medium size, while the pebbles is large size or the bigger size, and the last one is mango seeds. Of course, mango is always a smaller size. Of course, it always different size class. Okay, let's try to answer this number 3. What have you noticed of the number of marbles, pebbles, and mango seeds placed in the matchbox? So try to visualize, try to think, try to analyze. So what have you noticed of the number of pebbles, marbles, and mango seeds in the box? Okay, do they have the same number of units? Why? So the answer would be, of course, they have different number of units in each item, and they don't have same number of units. It is because they have different number of units and each item has different size. Of course, like what I said earlier, it always not the same size. It will not always the same measure. It is because the sizes and the amount of the item will always depend. Okay, class. So let's try to now dig deeper. Try to visualize, class. If you have a box or if you have a container, try to put let's just say marbles. If you have a marble, then try to put a marble in the container, in the box. So try to visualize. Try to apply it in a real life situation. So what do you think? So what would be happen? It will always be the same. Of course, it will not always the same. The more you put item is it could be a smaller amount or a bigger amount. Okay, let's try. Let's proceed. Okay, things you need to remember. So always remember, class, that volume is the amount of space that solid figure occupies. So when we say volume, it is the item or the space you put inside the box or inside the container. That is the occupier, or that occupy the inside the box or inside the container, it always called volume. And then a solid figure is a three-dimensional shape. Okay, and then non-standard unit is used. Non-standard units used is small, so more units are needed to fulfill a container. When the non-standard use is bigger, fewer units are needed to fill the container. So it means, class, like what I am saying earlier, when the item is small, so more items you will needed to fill a container or a box. The more you put, the more you fulfill or to fill the container, more units or more amounts of item. When the non-standard, or when the item is bigger, like pebbles, or if it is big, or the ball size is big, so the fewer gamay kuno mabutang, class, because it is because the size is bigger. When you put inside the box, it will limited the occupied space that being occupied with the item is limited. It is few. Gamay ra kuno siya, class. So that's why the non-standard, when we measured volume using non-standard figure. So non-standard units do not give a consistent and accurate measurement of the volume of a container. It is because it always depends on the size and the amount of the items you put in the container. Okay, class, do you remember these things? Okay, always remember that volume is the amount of the space that being occupied, and non-standard units are not always accurate in measuring the volume, class. It is because it always depends on the amount of the item and the size of the item. Okay, that is the end of our topic for today's topic. I hope you'll learn something, and don't forget to apply this in real life situation, class. Okay, so thank you for listening, and I hope you'll learn something in today's lesson. Goodbye, class.